Pay attention to TrashTalkingRadio.com every Tuesday night. If you don't, this is Axe Demolition. We'll come to your house and kick your stinking door down.
Hey, this is the Queen of Extreme Francine, and when I'm lonely, I listen to Mike Trash from 7 to 10 p.m. on Trash Talking Radio.
The following program contains scenes and language of a frank and explicit nature. Viewer discretion is advised.
In 5, 4, 3, 2, live now.
Oliver Humperdinck, and when I'm around the audio room at the House of Humperdinck, on Tuesday night, you can bet I'm tuned in to Mike Trash and Trash Talking Radio from 7 to 10 Eastern. Be there. What's up? This is Too Cold Scorpio in the house, and you listen to Mike Trash. That's why I'm screaming. I'm talking about Mike Trash, talking trash, y'all. You hear me? TrashTalkingRadio.com. Every Tuesday night from 7 to 10. If you ain't got nothing better to do, then you need to be listening on this radio. Tune in. This got it going on. I'm talking about TrashTalkingRadio.com every Tuesday. Don't miss out. 7 to 10. Y'all be there. You hear me?
All right, Trash Talking Radio Tuesday night. I said I wasn't coming back, but it looks like I did. I got everything fixed, I think. And we'll see how long this will last. But we're going to try to go to 10 o'clock or so and, kind of wrap up the show. I didn't like the way that I abruptly just disappeared off the airwaves. My computer crashed, and it was really not a very nice crash. It was a pretty ugly crash. Oh, I guess now I need to switch this over. Okay, here we go. There we go. All right. It's good to be back. Courtney, how are you doing? Glad to see you. This is hopefully not going to crash again, and hopefully we can still do this show and all that stuff. So I'm going to try to continue where I left off, and I got a lot of really weird stuff I wanted to talk about. So starting out, there was a Florida driver. Of course, Florida has the weirdest stuff going on. This driver here decided he was going to drag a cop. Florida driver's been charged with attempted murder of a law enforcement officer and aggravated assault after the police video showed him dragging a police officer. Deputy Aaron Blass conducted a traffic stop with Rocky. The guy's name is Rocky. Rocky Rudolph, 38. He was driving in a vehicle with illegally tinted windows. Sheriff Dennis Lemma told reporters at a news conference Saturday. Oh, what happened? All right, we'll go. Okay. So this guy got pulled over, and he just he knew he was in trouble of some sort, and he decided he was going to take off. But the police officer was ready for him, I guess. I don't know. I can't imagine being dragged like that. But the officer said he smelled marijuana on the suspect, and it says whom police identified as a convicted felon. But when prompted, Rudolph told Blass he did not have a card for the medical marijuana. So, that can always be a problem. That music's kind of sucky. Rudolph refused to turn off his engine, and when Blass told him to do so, the officer was still speaking to him. Rudolph took off in a black Escalade, dragging the officer about 20 feet. That's not a good idea. Let's see here. North Carolina sheriff urges for kindness after Florida man's mugshot sparks negative comments. When the car came to a stop, Blass pulled out his gun, pointing it at the vehicle and radioing for backup. But Rudolph grabbed Blass and drove another 100 yards towards I-4. So this guy's a real winner. It's relaxing music. Deputy Glass falls off the car, rolls onto the median, and is witnessed by eyewitnesses. That's a good thing. It's witnessed by eyewitnesses, not by, armed witnesses or anything like that. This doesn't make you want to drive away. It makes you want to go to sleep. At some point during the incident, Blas shot Rudolph in the leg. It was unclear how many shots. Let's see here. Trying to move that over. Okay. Unclear how many shots were fired in all, but the Florida Department of Law Enforcement will investigate further. It's a shame he didn't shoot him in the head. Hey, Harry. Good to see you. Ultimately, Rudolph ran off, throwing a gun into the bushes, according to the eyewitnesses, and was pursued by law enforcement, including the sheriff's office SWAT team, for almost 8 hours before he was caught inside another vehicle. He's a real winner. Was absolutely convinced that Rudolph was reaching for his gun during the incident. That body camera and dashboard footage would clearly show that. It was a dangerous situation. Our deputy could have been killed. They should be Breaking the Law should be the song that's playing right here. That would make more sense. Doctors later released the officer from the hospital. This guy says his job's a drag. He's not kidding. Why they didn't show the video? I wanted to see the video. Oh, I wonder if this is it. Oh, this is the dash cam video. Here we go. Here we go. We can get him. This is the officer getting out of the car. That's what I expected to show. Walking up to the car.
You mind putting down the back window, please, for me? All right, awesome. I'm Deputy Blaze with Seminole County Sheriff's Office. Before I ask you for any information, the reason I'm pulling you over is because your windows up here are way too dark per statute. Okay. So if you could do me a favor, just roll this window about halfway up. That's good. Right there. So in the state of Florida, the front window can be 25%, back window can be 15%, okay? The lower the number, the darker the tint. Your front window is measuring at 3%, okay? So
I thought it went by the back window, I thought.
No, so as you can see, what that means is only 3% of the outside ambient light is getting through your window, okay? That's why they do that way. Do you have your driver's license, registration, proof of insurance? You can put this back down for me. What's that?
How's it going this morning, bro?
Living the dream.
I see you.
Living the dream.
What the hell happened? I see you on the trail looking like, what the hell happened?
2513.
If he didn't take off yet, it's got to be coming.
Rocky Money Rudolph Jr.
Yes, sir.
That name is awesome. That's probably, in 14 years, that is probably the best name I've seen.
So why does he drive away? That's the question. And how did he think he would get away with it? That's the other question.
This is the application for a certificate of title. This
This is not like
This is the registration right here.
Okay.
It's saying it's, I guess, your birthday is probably on the 5th. Is it? Yeah.
Okay.
So ultimately, it's technically expired.
Long video.
But we don't cipher
wanna
that
see
case law that says it goes to the end of the month.
Yeah.
So you need to get that changed.
Yeah, well,
right?
I'm doing this new project down here, the homeless community thing they doing.
Okay.
I'm building that there, working down there, building on that and stuff.
Okay.
So I be through the area all the time.
All right. Well, yeah, make sure you get that updated. And
Okay,
you
so
have,
when does he start dragging the
insurance
officer
card?
around? That's what I want to know.
What I did is over the phone, and they pulled the fax everything over, and they sent it to my baby mama address, and I ain't been dealing with her. I got to probably go out and get it.
Do you have an app or anything? You should be able to get it on an app if you've got to sign into the app.
Yeah.
I just got to check and make sure.
All right, I
Make sure
want
it's
to
good.
get him
Yeah,
faster
yeah,
here.
yeah.
Let's skip all this garbage.
Why are you nervous?
Oh, she's
Huh?
No, they never
He's
really-
driving while black. Let's go back here.
Mr. Rudolph,
Yes, sir.
is there any reason why there would be a faint of weed coming out of your vehicle? Do you smoke? Do you have any friends that smoke? Anything like that?
No, sir. Just black and mild. Probably black and mild smoke.
All right, we're going to go
No,
fast forward on
I know
more.
the difference between black and mild smoke and this and that. Do you have any marijuana in the car?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So there's no marijuana in the car at all? Okay. And do you have a Florida health card that allows you to smoke medical marijuana?
Yes, sir.
No? Okay.
Now it's getting good.
What's that?
Just left the Walmart up on.
Okay. Yeah, I did too. I had to go to the bathroom something fierce.
Oh, that was you I see.
Okay, we're going to go faster.
It's no big deal. I mean, I'm not.
You gonna
Like I
take me
said,
from a
hey,
lesson to marijuana, bro?
Listen,
Come on,
listen.
man.
Do me a favor. Do me a favor. Do me a favor. I'm telling you right now. I'm telling you right now. Stop.
Okay, we're going to see it now.
Stop. Stop.
Wow.
Put it in park. Put your hands up. Put your hands up. Put your freaking hands up. You know, you're just trying to take off with me. You step them up now. Sir, I'm telling you. Put your hands up. Put your hands up. Put your hands up. I swear to God. Put your hands up. You put it in park. Sir.
Wow. That's crazy. That's crazy stuff. He really, whew. That's a major issue. I could never even imagine doing that to a cop. Whew. I guess that's the difference between me and that guy. Well, there's a couple differences, but I got a medical marijuana card for one. Oh man, that's amazing. Takes all kinds. Takes all kinds. I just, whew. That's crazy stuff. I mean, he could have been shot. Well, I guess he was shot. He could have been shot worse, and he was grabbing the gun and stuff. That's not good for him. The thing is, I do have a problem with arresting the guy for marijuana. I think that marijuana these days, people all know that it's a stupid reason to arrest somebody. It's a harmless drug, and I don't know. I think it's crazy. I mean, I don't know. CBD stuff is good for health issues, for pain and all that stuff, and depression and all that. And I'm not really into the HTC stuff, but you know, it's weird. But you know, you just don't go dragging a cop. This dentist here hid $600,000 of income so he could get free medical assistance and food. If I made $600,000, I don't need medical assistance and I don't need food assistance. That's crazy. It's crazy that actually would happen, but this guy actually did this. He has a dental practice. Oh, man. There's criminals everywhere, and it's so strange that somebody would do that. But
police say he lied about his income and employment to get more than $25,000 in SNAP benefits. Joseph Chiappa of Harrisburg owned and ran.
I've heard that name
Investigators say he applied for food and medical assistance benefits by lying.
The whole thing about that is if you make $600,000,
unemployed, and they
there's
say
really
between
no reason to
2015 and
cheat the government.
2019, he got $25,000.
When the average median's like $35,000 or $40,000.
Investigators say over those years, his income exceeded $600,000.
That's nuts. I don't understand that. You know, there's a lot of people out there that need that stuff. And to think that somebody's making that kind of money and just not reporting it, it's just nuts. So, there's a recent suspect in a Utah college. Oh, this is really crazy. Suspect in Utah college, student murder suspect, or sought secret soundproof room in his home. He had a contractor who was looking for the secret soundproof room, and I guess for a good reason, because he was going to, I don't know, kill people, torture them, whatever. What other reason do you need a soundproof room? You can listen to heavy metal music at all hours of the night. Yeah, it's crazy. Says here, suspect in Utah murder case sought secret soundproof room in his room, soundproof room in his home. And the contractor originally appeared on the news about 2 months before Utah college student Mackenzie Look went missing. The man now suspected of her murder asked a local contractor to build a soundproof room in his home with hooks drilled to the concrete walls and a secret entrance with a thumb lock. That's just some pretty weird stuff. It said here, honestly, I don't know what he wanted it for, and but my gut was not normal. I mean, who needs a room with thumb locks and hooks? In my opinion, it was for something bad. Wolf turned the job down and got the hell out of there. Yeah, that's really bizarre. Says here, Wolf told Fox affiliate that when he was asked AJI why he wanted a secret room about the size of a walk-in closet built, he told him that his Mormon girlfriend would be visiting and she didn't know drinks and alcohol. He wanted to hide that stuff in the room. I can't imagine. He said he reported what he knew to the police as soon as he saw the home on the television broadcast. AJI 31 was taken into custody at the home on Friday and charged with aggravated murder, aggravated kidnapping, obstruction of justice, and desecration of a body. Charred tissue has been removed and contains DNA consistent with samples found on Look's belongings. So this guy ended up killing the girl, and then who knows what he did with her. Look was last seen early hours on June 17. She landed at Salt Lake City International Airport around 2 a.m. Then at 2:40 a.m. she took a lift from the airport and to Hatch Park in North Salt Lake City. AJI admitted to police that he and Luck texted at 6 a.m. On June 16th, but said that they did not text after that, and he did not know about what Mackenzie looked like and denied having seen a photo or online profile. That's hard to believe that anybody would not see an online profile. So, that's strange. But to have that secret room, that's kind of freaky. But there's those people out there. Those people are crazy out there. Speaking of crazy, a mother was arrested in search for her missing toddler. A day-long search for a Virginia toddler. Police in Virginia arrested the mother of a missing 2-year-old boy who authorities now believe is dead. Oh man. And parents that don't know where their 2-year-old is, that's a problem. With today's helicopter parents, it's hard to believe that anybody would not know where their kid is, especially a 2-year-old. But I guess it's another person that probably maybe accidentally killed their kid and was afraid to admit it or whatever. It says Hampton Police Chief Terry Salt told the news outlets on Friday specific charges against 34-year-old Julia Tomlin. Oh, here we go. Julia Tomlin, there she is. So she looks like she could be a person that could have caused the problem. Police say in Virginia they've arrested Julie. Oh, here we go. Here's the sound. I wondered where that was. That's just such a shame. The mother of a missing boy. Noah Tomlin, a 2-year-old who authorities now believe is dead. There's so many people that would take a 2-year-old. Police said specific charges against Tomlin are pending. I mean, I know a lot of people that would love to have a kid. Search for Noah Tomlin is intensifying. Noah was last seen around 1 a.m. And the mother reported him missing around 11 a.m. that day. So, that's such a shame. I can't imagine being able to, kill your own children like that and be able to live with yourself. So, but that's not the only mother. Let me see, where's it at? There it is. Well, no, that's not the one. That's not the one I wanted. The one I wanted was... There it is. This is a weird story. Woman accused of drowning boy. She tried to drown as a baby 11 years ago. How did she end up with the kid after the first attempt of drowning? How come she hadn't had that kid taken from her? That's the thing I need to know. I mean... California woman was accused of drowning a boy she tried to drown 11 years ago when he was a baby. Deputies found Jackson Telnis, 12, and his 7-year-old boy brother Jacob Ray Telnis unresponsive in an irrigation ditch full of water. Oh, man. They were notified that a woman identified as their mother, Sherry Renee Telnis, 45, was acting strangely and had taken them to a field across the street. Telnis was charged with murder in the older boy's death. The younger boy survived, and the sheriff's department was said that he was in critical condition. She was also charged with attempting to murder Jacob Ray, corporal injury to a child, and obstructing an officer. She was jailed without bond. I will never unhear the wails that came out of my mother-in-law when I told her Jackson and Jacob Ray's aunt, Eleanor Brown, told the TV show. None of us believed it at first, because we found it through an old coworker, and at first I was like, oh yeah, that happened 10 years ago. Jackson was 10 months old when Thomas tried to drown him. You see, at that point, if you have a record, you kind of take the kid away from him, right? Or away from her. Oh man. During questioning, Telnis said bad thoughts or voices had told her to drown the baby. And the newspaper quoted prosecutors as saying that the woman had been in the throes of mental illness. See, the thing is, if you're in mental illness, quote unquote, you shouldn't be left with your kid. There's going to be problems later on. It just took her a few years. And then she ended up killing them anyway. So it's just, I blame the people that didn't take care of the issue when it was there. When they had the chance to save that kid, they killed the kid. They killed the kid by not taking him away from his mother. That's bizarre. When police pull over people, they look for things like, marijuana smoke or drugs. Well, here we have a situation. Police find possible grenades during a traffic stop. There's no situation where anybody needs to have grenades for any reason that I think. It's just really bizarre to think that somebody is out there with grenades in their car. But that's just bizarre to me to think that a man's facing several charges after police say they found 2 devices that looked like grenades. I just don't know what is going on with this world.
Police say they found something that looked like hand grenades in a car during a traffic stop. Andrew Forgotch reports.
Renee Stevens saw the police activity Sunday night in the Kending Square Shopping Center parking lot, which is off the Willow Street Pike.
A lot of fire, police, ambulances.
West Lampeter Township Police say they pulled over 54-year-old Melvin Hartman for not having a license plate. During the stop, police say they discovered Hartman had an outstanding drug warrant, and when he refused to get out of the car, they removed him. Police also say they found methamphetamine, a loaded
first
handgun,
off,
and what looked like...
If you're going to have grenades in your car, you probably should have a license plate too, because that's what brought it over to begin with. And the person didn't have a license plate, of course he's going to get pulled over. I'm glad he didn't have a license plate, because that meant he's not out there today causing problems, but somehow I think that the biggest problem is that the guy's an idiot, and where he got the grenades, that could be a problem. Where do you buy a grenade? I got to think that it's got to be all underground stuff, right?
2 live grenades in his car.
Nobody wants to hear of a bomb or a grenade. That's because a grenade is a bomb. And, you're talking about possible multiple fatalities.
The state police bomb squad responded. Stevens, a nearby landlord, says the incident kept tenants away from their homes. As it stands, there is no answers as to why Hartman had the items in his car.
It's just so lucky and so coincidental that they pulled him over.
And that's a great thing that the police actually pulled the guy over before he did any harm to anybody. But you got to think he's had something in mind. He had some kind of reason to have those grenades. Makes you really wonder what he was doing with it. So, I don't know. Just really bizarre. This is a really strange thing. And I don't know how it could even have gotten to this point with this woman. A woman was shot. Oh, geez, did I lose my... Why didn't it work? Let's try it again. I got like several of them now. Okay. So, a pregnant woman was shot, then indicted in her baby's death. How in the world could that have even happened? It says here, Marsha Jones, lawyers for Marsha Jones, and I hope I'm saying that right, the Alabama woman who was indicted in the death of her unborn child after being shot during a fight, planned to file a motion to dismiss charges. How could you possibly put her in jeopardy like that? White says there isn't a time frame for when the motion will be reviewed by a judge. The Jefferson County jury indicted Jones, 27, on manslaughter of her unborn child. Jones was 5 months pregnant December 4th when she got into a fight with another woman outside a Dollar Store General, and it was the mother of a child who initiated and continued the fight, which resulted in the death of her own unborn baby. The fight caused by the other woman, Ebony Jemison, to react and defend herself. He would not describe Jones, the pregnant woman, as a shooting victim. Ebony Jemison was originally charged with murder and attempted murder, but those charges were dismissed. The indictment may or may not lead to prosecution, according to the statement. While the grand jury has had its say, our office in the process of evaluating this case and has not made a determination. How could you possibly put her in for trial for this unborn child? It just doesn't make sense to me. These charges should definitely be dropped because she was in a fight. She didn't even initiate the fight, and she was shot. So to me, that's just ridiculous. Ridiculous that anybody would even consider charging her with anything. So I don't know. That kind of news just frustrates the living daylights out of me to know that, I don't know her from anybody else. I mean, I certainly am not defending her, but I don't know. Here's a bizarre story, too. A man shot by teenagers dies in the same hospital where he just became a father. Tyrese Garvin, his newborn twins laid down next to him as he took his final breath on his bed at University of Louisville Hospital. Garvin, 20, was pronounced dead and taken off life support around 3 p.m. Friday. Garvin was shot Sunday while walking in the Smoketown neighborhood, according to the Louisville police. 2X said Garvin had finished visiting his newborn twins, a boy and a girl, who were about a week old at the time. The twins were born prematurely and remained at the University of Louisville Hospital, where Garvin was taken after he was shot. So he goes visits his little kids, his babies, and then he leaves the hospital and gets shot and ends up dying in the same hospital that his kids were born in. Oh, man. This world's all whacked out. Just so bizarre to think about that somebody would be just walking along and ends up dying just because of whatever reason. The teenagers. Let's see here. Make sure he says here, from everything I've heard, they're going to be strong little twins. The police have arrested three male teenagers from 14 to 17 who carried out the violent act. And it's a part of a rash of shootings that have left 12 dead this month. That's just ridiculous. To wipe out some poor guy, his life is gone, his kids are going to be fatherless just because, they thought it was something to do, I guess. So, it's just crazy. Speaking of crazy, in this day and age, everyone out there knows not to leave your kids in the car when it's hot. There's no reason whatsoever, unless you're living in a freaking under a rock. Mom arrested after 1-year-old daughter dies in a hot car. I mean, that's just ridiculous. It's ridiculous, irresponsible. There's no reason that should have happened. In today's world, there's just no reason. But it's happened. It's happened again. I mean, we constantly are hearing these stories of that kind of situation. And I just don't,
I
don't get it.
experienced firsthand how quickly a hot car can affect an adult body.
To do that, we're going to start with the blood pressure.
I've seen this before.
Paramedics in Pennsylvania. Paul Dunn checks my body temperature.
98.3.
Okay.
Textbook perfect.
All right. And hooks me up to a heart monitor before we lock ourselves in this minivan.
I'm wired up. It's about 90 degrees outside. Let's go.
It didn't take long to feel the heat.
Cozy. You're up to 100.8 already.
Wow. So I went from 98.3 to 100.8.
Yep.
In like a minute.
The temperature inside the van climbing more than 10 degrees in a matter of 20 minutes.
I mean, we're just dripping sweat everywhere.
Yeah. This is extremely uncomfortable.
29 minutes in.
There's another PVC. So we're up to 2.
Paul, checking the monitor, notices I've had 2 irregular heartbeats. A sign my heart is feeling the heat.
105.
Wow.
So at this point, most children would not be sustaining. We would have a critically ill child.
My body temperature of 105.
That's in 30 minutes.
Can be deadly for children. So we play it safe and call it.
Opening the door.
Oh, thank God.
I mean, that's crazy, but it's true. And it's this is a New Jersey mother. She was arrested after her 1-year-old daughter died after being left in the car for over 2 hours. That was just 30 minutes. Chayra Shurkin, 25, was arrested on Sunday and charged with endangering the welfare of a child, according to the Ocean County Prosecutor's Office. The case began on May 6th when officers responded to Lakewood Home for a report of a child in distress. Shurkin's daughter was 21 months old and left alone in Shurkin's car in the heat for about 2.5 hours. The temperature reached 71 degrees in a nearby Trenton that day. The officers arrived on the scene and found a neighbor trying to give the baby CPR. She was taken to the hospital where she died. The investigation determined that the act of leaving a child in a car unattended for such a long period of time was cause and manner of the child's death. Shurkin has not appeared in court. Hot car deaths have reached a record level last year with at least 52 children killed. 52 children killed. There's absolutely no reason you should have your kid in a car for 2 hours, let alone, 31 minutes, let alone 2 hours. But that's what we got. But she's not the only one. In Iowa, we talked about the same situation happening, but it was in Iowa. 1-year-old dies in possible car hot case in Iowa. You know, there's got to be something. I would put the mother in the car for 2 hours and let her suffer like her kid probably suffered, although she probably wouldn't die because, those kind of people don't die. They just complain about things. But I can't imagine what would cause you.
I experienced firsthand how quickly a hot car can affect an adult.
Okay, stop. I just watch this. It says here, officers were called to Sioux City Home on a report of an unconscious child before 4 p.m. Sunday, and a 16-month-old girl was the victim. The temperature was 98 degrees with a heat index of 107 degrees in Sioux City, Iowa. The girl was unresponsive and taken to Utility Point St. Luke's Hospital, where she was pronounced dead. The 16-month-old daughter, or 16-month-old, is being investigated as a possible hot car case, but we're not ruling the cause of death until medical reports. It marks the 16th child in a hot car case this year. So I just, what makes a parent that stupid to do that? I just can't understand, because we all know you don't do that. When I was a kid, my parents used to leave me in a hot car all the time, but we had the windows open because my parents didn't care if we were, stolen. But I just when I saw that, 2 stories, 2 different states, and in 1 week, just unbelievable. So, I don't know. All right, it's after 10. I guess I should call it now, because it's the end of the show. And I didn't see where I was buffering this time, so it might have been fixed. That would be good. So, anyway, I want to thank you guys for listening in, and for those of you that stayed through the crap, I appreciated that. And we'll talk to you guys next week. And as always, remember the most important part. If I think.
Hi, this is Terry Taylor.
Nope, that's not the one. Gotta push over here. There we go. I will talk to you next week.